how we built our media wall, saving thousands of pounds, and it's not as hard as you might think. Draw out your measurements to scale and then draw onto your wall. We used 18mm MDF from B&Q, which they will cut to size. Concentrate on the base first rather than worrying about shelves and doors. So the base unit was the first job. Using the cut to size MDF, we glued with Gorilla Glue, then screwed together for extra security. I wanted a skirting board to sit around the base of the unit like this, so we raised up the base with some timber. Once the base was in place, we fed the wires for lighting and the TV speakers through the wall, which was then covered with tongue and groove panelling. Then glued together 2 pieces of MDF for the upstands and the top. I wanted this to be thicker than shelves, then at a later point covered the join with a trim. For the doors, this handy tool to measure and drill for the hinges was from Amazon. I love this router tool. We use this on all edges to create a bespoke look on every shelf and round the front of the doors. I added a trim to the top to complete the look rather than routing this. I then added moulding to each of the doors. Spending time on caulking and filling sanding will make such a difference. The MDF will look furry on the edges, so sand down in between each coat of an acrylic based primer. I primed this a couple of times, then finished with a couple of coats of Lick White 01 in eggshell. For the lighting, this is what we used here, all from Amazon. Well out of my comfort zone, so I left this to my husband, who actually listened in his science classes. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube of how to do this if you need to refresh your memory. I added some beading in front of the strip lights for a neater finish like this. Also important to add a fan or some kind of ventilation if you're storing lots of electricals like Skybox, just to stop it overheating. We built this over a few weekends and it cost around £500 in total after being quoted £3k, and it's one of my favourite features and DIY projects in the house. Hope this helps and inspires you to create your own.